Girl is killed and Richard Kimball is mistakenly identified as the person responsible. Watch The Fugitive in color tonight on ABC. Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production. Dark Shadows, number 73, BTR 92866, air 10566, take one.
My name is Victoria Winters. Yesterday is alive in the great house on Widow's Hill, and with it the memory of sudden death. A death that seems to center the attention of many people on one office in Collinsport.
Him too? Well, all right, yes, ask him to come in.
Hello, George. I hope I'm not disturbing you.
Me? Oh, I haven't got a thing in the world to do right now, Sam. And there's nothing I'd rather do than spend a few minutes with my good friend Sam Evans. Sit down. Make yourself comfortable.
Well, I haven't got much time. Just passing by.
Well, you have time to have a cup of coffee.
Well, I don't want to bother you. Like I said, I was just passing by.
That is what you said, isn't it? And here I've been sitting here wondering why you were so late.
Me?
Yes, I began to worry about you, Sam. I thought maybe you were sick or had to leave town or some foolishness like that.
I've got no reason to leave town.
Well, I didn't say you did, but the thought occurred to me when you didn't show up. See, I've been sitting here waiting for you to just be passing by and dropping in since 9 o'clock this morning. Be right back. Just want to get this report on its way.
What made you so sure I'd be dropping in to see you?
Well, Malloy is dead, isn't he? And you are an interested party.
Oh, yes, sure. He was a good friend of mine.
Sure you won't have a cup of coffee? I'm afraid that's about all I can offer you.
No, thanks. Well, you see, George, the thing is, I was on my way down to the stationery store to pick up a sketch pad, and I had no intention of dropping in here at all.
Then why did you, Sam?
Well, I'm an impulsive man, George. Your office was there, and I was there, and so I thought I'd drop by and see if anything new had come up.
Well, your impulses are a little slow today, Sam. Burke Devlin and Roger Collins beat you to it by a good couple of hours.
They were here today?
Sure were. Just dropped in, same as you. Just wanted to visit, same as you. You know, if I didn't know you were all interested in the same thing, I would begin to think I'd picked up a whole new batch of friends.
Well, what did they want?
Same as you. All three of you, all fevered up to know when the coroner's report is coming in on Bill Malloy. That is what you're after, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't say... Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Well, I can't say I blame you, Sam, for being interested, that is. I've been running around for days trying to find out, was Bill drowned, was he murdered? And everywhere I turned, there were you, Burke Devlin, and Roger Collins, right smack in the middle.
I had nothing to do with it.
Well, maybe not. Maybe none of you did. Maybe the coroner will bring in a decision of accidental death. And if he does, Sam, you can stop worrying. You can set up your easel and paint yourself a couple of dozen sunsets.
Well, when do you think you'll get the answer?
Today.
You sure?
Oh, yes. I think it's only a matter of hours now before you'll know whether you're going to be Sam Evans the painter or Sam Evans the murder suspect. You Sure you won't have some coffee?
Huh? No.
David,
Yes, Elizabeth?
come in here for a minute, please.
Yes.
Where have you been?
Outside playing.
Miss Winters has been looking for you.
She's back. I thought she wasn't going to be here anymore.
Whatever gave you that idea?
I was sure you fired her or she quit or something.
No, she's still here.
Oh, great. Just great. She didn't give me any lessons today, Aunt Elizabeth. She never showed up at all.
I know all about that, David. Your father took her to the cannery.
I thought she quit.
David, you're going to have to get used to the idea that Miss Winters is going to be your tutor for a long, long time.
Even if I never get to like her,
You've never tried very hard.
you shouldn't have to try. Either you like somebody or you don't like them.
Well, it isn't as simple as that. Particularly if you're a little boy who finds it difficult to like anybody.
But I like you.
That's only one person.
I like Mr. Devlin. That makes two.
I don't think I like the company you're putting me in.
Why do you hate him so much, Aunt Elizabeth?
I don't hate Mr. Devlin.
He told me to call him Burke.
It's difficult to explain, David. There's so many things you wouldn't understand.
I'll bet it's about Mr. Malloy.
David, why don't you go upstairs and tell Miss Winters you're back?
See? You're treating me like a kid, and Burke wouldn't do that.
Oh? What would he do?
If I asked him about Mr. Malloy, he'd tell me. He'd even tell me if the sheriff found out who killed him yet.
Mr. Malloy wasn't killed. He drowned accidentally.
But Burke doesn't think he just drowned.
I don't really care what Burke thinks.
Burke would tell me. He'd tell me anything. That's why I really like him.
David, you don't know anything about him.
He's my friend.
If I told you he wasn't to be trusted, would that make any difference?
No, because I wouldn't believe you.
All right, David, that's enough.
I'll bet that's what you told the sheriff. But you even told him that Burke killed Mr. Malloy.
David, go to your room.
Well, it's not true. I don't care what you think. Burke's my friend, and he didn't kill anyone.
Well, Sam, that's about it. My full report is on the way to the coroner right now. He'll probably call me in for a little extra questioning, and then that'll be it.
Which way do you think it'll go?
There's another question I've been hearing all day.
Oh, look, George, you must have some idea.
Sam, we've had our little visit. Now, you still have that sketch pad to buy, so why don't you go do it? Leave me with a few minutes' peace before I get the call from the coroner.
You think he'll be busy after he calls you?
Well, that will depend on the decision. Chasing down a homicide is not exactly like directing traffic.
Well, you think the findings will be accidental death?
Sorry, Sam. That's something I wouldn't care to speculate on.
But you must know something.
I know you're getting all worked up.
Well, why shouldn't I be, George? You said yourself. You gathered the facts. You asked all the questions. Now, don't tell me that you don't know that all those facts and questions add up to something.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Sam. When the coroner calls me in, and he will, one of the things he's going to want to know about is attitude.
Well, now, was it accidental death or homicide?
Attitude, Sam. How you, Burke Devlin, and Roger Collins have reacted. He's going to want to know just how nervous you are.
Oh, now, well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now, don't think I'm getting nervous about this thing.
Oh, well, then what are you, Sam?
Well, I'm just interested in the coroner's finding, that's all. Seriously interested. You think I'm getting nervous? Well, that's just the way I come across.
I see.
Look, George, maybe you're right. Maybe I ought to be patient and wait, huh?
Not much else you can do.
Sure. Well, I'd better go get that sketch pad and be running along. I'll see you around, huh?
Don't worry, Sam. I'll be in touch.
Hello, is this the hotel? Could I speak to Mr. Devlin, please? Oh. All right.
I thought I told you to go upstairs.
I'm going.
Just a minute, David. Who are you calling?
Nobody.
I want an answer, David.
I didn't talk to him.
Was it your friend?
I had to tell him, Aunt Elizabeth. I had to.
Tell him what?
He would just be mad at me.
What did you have to tell Burke?
About you and the sheriff. That the sheriff thinks that he killed Mr. Malloy and that you do too.
That's nonsense. When did I ever say that?
In there, just a little while ago. I think Burke ought to know so we can do something about it.
I don't think anybody killed Mr. Malloy.
I know, but that's what you said.
Then how could I also accuse Burke of murdering him?
I don't know, but that's what it sounded like to me.
That's your imagination, David, nothing else.
What about the sheriff?
David, I can't tell what's going on in his mind. I'm sure he thinks as I do. Now, does that satisfy you?
I'm sorry, Aunt Elizabeth, but I don't think you're telling me the truth.
I do not lie to you, David.
You really think that Mr. Malloy was murdered. But you keep telling everybody he wasn't, because that's the way you want it to come out.
David, what am I going to do with your wild imagination?
Mr. Malloy was killed, just like you really think. But Burke Devlin had nothing to do with it.
I never said he did.
But you think it.
All right, David. Go upstairs. Go to your room and stay there. Lie in the bed, read a book, do your studies. I don't care, but just go upstairs. Hello, is the sheriff there? This is Mrs. Stoddard. I wanted to speak to him to find out when he expected to receive the coroner's findings. Oh, I see. Well, how long ago was he called in? Yes, I understand. Then the final decision should come quite soon. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Oh, hi, Pop. You want some coffee?
No, thanks, darling. I just want to rest my feet.
Well, better here than in the Blue Whale.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that brow. What have you been doing? Thinking deep artistic thoughts?
You are looking at a man who has been thinking deep, realistic thoughts.
Oh, that's bad. Hey, did you hear the latest scoop? I understand the coroner's going to make his report on the Malloy thing today.
Don't say. Well, that's good. Be nice to have the thing cleared up.
Not from what I hear. I understand that the...
Maggie, do your old man a favor, will you, and keep your hotel gossip for the back stairs? Huh. Life is far more important than the gabble-gabble of idle tongues.
How can they be idle if they're gabbling?
All right, make fun of me. But seriously, darling, life has much more meaning than what simply happens in a small-town coroner's office.
Not in Collinsport, that's for sure.
Then maybe you ought to leave.
When? Now? Will I have time to change my uniform?
Oh, I'm trying to talk seriously to you about your future, and you carry on like it's a two-a-day vaudeville act.
Hey, you mean it, don't you?
Tell me, Maggie, have you ever given any thought to your life after I'm gone?
No, not really.
Well, it's a great big world, Maggie. And serving coffee in a restaurant and a hotel is not very much of a future for a bright, attractive young girl like you.
You've been sitting in a corner and brooding again, haven't you?
Oh.
Hey, I know what's eating at you. You did hear the rumor, didn't you? Well, I'm not worried about it. The sheriff's an honest, fair man. He's bound to realize you couldn't possibly have anything to do with it. Now, you just sit there. I'm going to make us both some coffee.
Oh, Maggie, wait a minute. What rumor is this?
About the decision from the coroner. I understand that it's going to be homicide.
Well, who told you this?
Well, I don't know. Some customers. I mean, it's all over town. I thought for sure that you'd heard about it.
No.
All right, like you said, Pop, just a lot of gabble gabble.
Yeah, sure. Well, let's have that coffee, huh?
Believe me, there are a couple of people in this town that have a lot more to worry about than you do.
Hello? Oh, Roger. Have you heard anything? No. All I know is that the sheriff went to the coroner's office. Well, how long ago was that? Well, if he's left the coroner already, we should have had have a decision very shortly, wouldn't you think? Well, of course. If I hear anything, I'll call you immediately. Fine. Goodbye. David, where do you think you're going now?
For a walk.
I thought you'd be studying.
I will, Aunt Elizabeth, I promise. I just want some air.
You can get all the air you want after your schoolwork.
Please, Aunt Elizabeth, just 5 minutes?
Not even for 1 minute. Now, march right back up those stairs. David? David, where are you going? David, come back here. David! David! Hello, Sheriff. I was just trying to call you.
Well, and now here I am. Well, David was certainly in a hurry to get someplace.
Yes, he was.
Mrs. Stoddard,
Yes?
may I come in?
Oh, yes, certainly.
Yeah, that's right, Harry. I'm up at Collinwood. Yes, I came right here from the coroner's office. Yeah, just what you and I thought he would. Well, I'll probably be here about 15 minutes or so, all right? In case anything comes up? Right. Sorry, Mrs. Stoddard. I just like to let the office know where I am in case anyone wants to borrow a cup of sugar.
I just heard you say you'd come directly here from the coroner's office. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Has the coroner reached a decision?
Mrs. Stoddard, I know how close you and Bill Malloy were. I mean, I know that he was not just the manager of your fishing fleet and cannery, but that you were real old friends. Now, what I'm doing is not strictly regulation, but, well, I figured there was just no harm in coming directly to the person who would be most interested in what happened to Bill.
Then the matter is settled.
Mrs. Stoddard, if Bill was murdered, you would want the person who did it, the guilty person, apprehended and punished, wouldn't you? No matter who he was?
Yes, of course.
But you wouldn't want innocent people hounded and bothered if there was no need to, no matter how the facts appeared to you.
No, of course not.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Mrs. Stoddard, because, and I hope the rest of the people in this town feel that way, because I'd like to close the file on this case right now and just forget it ever happened.
Then the coroner doesn't think it was homicide.
No, ma'am. Accidental death due to drowning.
Then it's over.
Yes, ma'am. It's over.
Terrible thing is, it'll never end, no matter what the coroner decides.
You, Mr. Evans, are the leading pessimist of our time.
And you are the worst waitress. Oh, you have a customer.
That's David Collins.
Oh, Roger's son?
He's a cute kid, isn't he? Hi, David. Did you come in town for the ice cream?
No, I was looking for Mr. Devlin.
Well, he's not in here.
He's not in his hotel room either. I called him on the house phone and nobody answered.
Well, if it's that important, you can always leave a message with the desk clerk.
No, it's all right.
Come on over and meet my dad, and I'll get you some ice cream on the house. Do you know what that means?
Yep, it's free.
What's your favorite flavor?
I don't think I want any right now. Thank you anyway.
Oh. This is my dad, and this is David Collins, who doesn't want any ice cream. Mr. Collins, Mr. Evans.
How do you do, Mr. Collins?
Hello.
Okay, David, up on the chair. Whether you like it or not, you're going to get a super-duper sundae.
Sit down, son. May I call you David?
Sure.
David, did anyone ever tell you that you have a great smile?
No.
Well, you have, and I'd love to paint it someday.
Are you an artist, Mr. Evans?
Am I an artist? Son, I can take a raging storm and turn it into something beautiful. I can take a buttercup and breathe eternal life into it.
Gee, you must be a genius.
Well, not quite. How's your father these days?
Oh, do you know him?
Well, in a manner of speaking. How is he?
He's all right, I guess.
Huh?
I think I have to be going.
Hey, not so fast. What about your ice cream?
I don't think I have time, thank you. Glad to meet you, Mr. Evans.
The pleasure was all mine. Nice boy.
Come on, Pop. Go off your diet for the day.
Too bad he has to be part of that family. They're really in for it.
Pop, come on. If you don't eat it, I will. And I shouldn't.
Well, you know, Maggie, even if the rumor is wrong, even if the coroner decides it's accidental death, that it's not going to make any difference up in Collinswood.
Why not? It'll be over, won't it?
You think so? You think Burke Devlin will accept that? You watch, Maggie. If the coroner doesn't rule homicide, Burke Devlin will go on a rampage, and he won't stop until there's nothing left, including the boy.